On May 7, 2025, the terrorists responsible for killing 26 innocent people in Pahalgam after asking the victims about their religion believed they were safe while resting in their hideouts inside Pakistani territory. What they did not know was that this night would become the last for many of them. Between 1:05 a.m. and 1:30 a.m., a coordinated offensive began. Several terrorist hideouts located in Sialkot, Muridke, and Bahawalpur in Pakistan, as well as in Muzaffarabad, Kotli, and Bimber in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, were struck simultaneously. In total, 9 bases belonging to groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and Hizbul Mujahideen were targeted. Around 24 missiles and multiple high-precision explosives were launched against these locations. Within minutes, the silence of the night was shattered by powerful explosions. Columns of smoke filled the sky, and the terrorist training and planning centers were completely destroyed. The operation was carried out by India as a direct response to groups that had been hiding inside Pakistan while organizing attacks against Indian civilians. The mission was named Operation Sindoor. The name carried a symbolic meaning. It represented the pain of the women who lost their husbands in the Pahalgam massacre, a gesture of justice for families who saw their lives destroyed before their eyes. Analysts began to describe Operation Sindoor as one of the largest military actions ever carried out by India against terrorism. For the first time, Indian forces struck targets nearly 100 kilometers inside Pakistani territory. Initial reports indicated that more than 100 terrorists were killed in the operation. Among the dead were family members and close associates of Masood Azhar, the leader of Jaish-e-Mohammed. The impact of the strike was so devastating that reports claimed Azhar himself was deeply shaken, even saying that he wished he had died along with those who were killed. But many questions emerged. How did India manage to carry out such a deep operation inside Pakistan? How was this plan prepared, and what happened next? Shortly after the terrorist camps were destroyed, Pakistan attempted to respond. There were attempts to strike civilian areas and Indian military installations, but these actions did not achieve significant success. In response, the Indian armed forces launched strikes on 11 Pakistani air bases, causing major damage and forcing the neighboring country to step back. Meanwhile, the 4 terrorists responsible for the Pahalgam massacre had fled into forest areas after the attack. Even so, India made it clear that everyone involved, both the attackers and the planners, would be held accountable. Indian authorities stated that the operation was a highly precise joint military action directed specifically at 9 major terrorist centers in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The objective was clear: to deliver justice for the victims of Pahalgam. After the offensive, Pakistan attempted to send drones during the night to strike targets in India. However, Indian forces reacted quickly, and approximately 50 drones were destroyed in the air. The government also assured the population that any threat against the country would be neutralized immediately. During the confrontations, Pakistani air defense systems near Lahore were also neutralized by Indian forces. The beginning of the crisis. To understand this story, we must go back to April 22, 2025. On that day, 5 to 6 terrorists linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba, operating through an associated group called TRF, arrived at the Baisaran Valley in Pahalgam. What happened there shocked the entire country. The attackers stopped people in the area and began asking about their religion. Whenever someone identified as Hindu, they were executed immediately. In some cases, men were forced to recite Islamic religious words to prove their identity. Those who could not do so were killed without mercy. In total, 26 innocent men were murdered solely because of their religion. This was not the first terrorist attack linked to Pakistan against India. Over the last decades, several major attacks were attributed to groups supported or sheltered there, including the 2001 attack on the Indian Parliament, the 2008 Mumbai attacks, the attacks in Pathankot, Uri, and Pulwama. Even in 2024, regions such as Sonmarg, Gulmarg, and Riyasi had already been targeted. But the Pahalgam massacre was considered different. This time, the violence explicitly based on religion crossed every limit of tolerance. Meanwhile, Pakistani authorities initially reacted as they had in previous incidents, denying responsibility or describing the attackers as freedom fighters. Because of this, the Indian government decided that diplomacy statements alone would not be enough. Unprecedented political and economic measures came first. India announced the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, a crucial agreement regulating the use of rivers essential to Pakistan. Nearly 80% of Pakistan's agricultural land depends on these waters. With the suspension, India gained the ability to hold back or release large volumes of water, something that could cause droughts or floods in the neighboring country. Other measures were also taken: closure of the Attari border post, cancellation of special visas, digital restrictions on Pakistani accounts, removal of Pakistani films, music, and shows from Indian platforms. While these decisions were being made diplomatically, high-level meetings were taking place to plan a military response. Prime Minister Narendra Modi publicly declared that those responsible for the attack would receive a punishment beyond anything they could imagine. After the 2016 surgical strikes and the 2019 Balakot airstrike, Pakistan already knew that India was willing to respond militarily. Fearing retaliation, Pakistani forces began increasing firing along the line of control. The goal seemed clear: to raise tension and attract international attention, creating diplomatic pressure on India. But this time, New Delhi decided to move forward. In a strategic meeting in New Delhi, the following leaders were present: the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the commanders of the three armed forces. There, the decision was made to carry out a major airstrike against terrorist centers in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Intelligence agencies began working intensely. RAW and NTRO gathered detailed information on 21 possible terrorist targets. After careful analysis, 9 of them were selected as the most critical. These locations were known to be connected to several terrorist attacks planned against India over the years. The full plan of the operation was ready at the beginning of May. With final approval from the government, the mission officially received the name Operation Sindoor. The objective was clear: to destroy the terrorist infrastructure responsible for attacks against Indian civilians.